Hey YouTube, it's Kianna Alexander again. Today I'm going to talk about probably the question I get asked the most out of all the questions, and it's one of the lengthier ones to answer. So I gave it its own video. How do you write a book? Now, I can't tell you that there's one specific way to write a book. Every writer has their own process and a different way that they go about it. And I'm not saying that my way is better than anybody else's way or worse than anybody else's way, but I can only tell you my own process. So that's what I'm going to do in this video. So I start with my basic idea of what the story is going to be about. I need to have some basic information about the hero and the heroine. Usually it's name, age, and occupation. And the first thing I do when I sit down to start a new book is fill out this worksheet. This is mine. This is something that I created. As you can see, it's called the Basic Thought Web. So on the thought web, I fill in each box with certain information. The top box here is going to be character information. It's going to be the hero and the heroine, and then their best friends or window characters. Window character is called that because that person, by conversation with the hero or heroine, reveals some aspect of the hero or heroine's personality. So I'm going to put those four characters in this box, and it's basically their names, age, occupation, and it tells you all of that goes in this first box. So this is my characters box. This box is for the plot. This is where I fill out the basic information that I know about what the story is going to be about, what kind of story it is, all that. The bottom box down here is where I put the climax, the high point of action in the story. This box is for the resolution, and the box over here is just for the setting, the time period, and the physical location. In the middle bubble is where I put like demographic information about the book itself. The title, if I have one, the subgenre, if it's contemporary, historical, whatever, the word count, and the due date. If it's a traditional book that's going to a publishing house, I'll put my due date here. If it's not, then I'll put the publication date, which is the date that I want to indie publish it. So that's the first thing I do is fill out that worksheet. If any of you want to get that worksheet, let me know and I will put a link for you to get it on my website. So that's where I start. And from that, which is just a very general, vague idea of what the story is going to be about, then I make my outline. And it's usually chapter by chapter. The number of chapters depends on how long the book is going to be when it's finished. And I usually divide each chapter into two scenes, one in the hero's point of view, one in the heroine's point of view, and kind of try to switch back and forth and keep it pretty even. If I'm going to go into one point of view more than the other one, it's the heroine, because romance readers are largely female, and that's the point of view that will seem most relatable to them, or at least that's what I've been told. So generally, if I'm going to tend towards one more than the other in terms of point of view, there'll be more of the heroine's point of view. But I try to keep it pretty even. So I outline all the chapters and all the scenes. Usually it's two scenes per chapter. Once I have my outline written out on paper, I usually type it up, print it out so that I can make sure I can read it when I actually start writing. From that outline, I start my first draft. And I try to fast draft, which is writing fast enough that my internal editor can't keep up. Because if I'm always going back looking at what I wrote and stuff, it just slows me down. It bogs down my process. So try not to edit while I'm writing. I will read back a little bit, like today. When I start writing today, I will look back at the last couple of paragraphs I wrote yesterday so that I know where I was in the story. But I'm not going back to like read and revise while I'm working on the book because that just ends up slowing me down. So after I finish my first draft, if it's traditional, it goes in for edits. If it's indie, it still goes for edits. It goes for edits either way. And then when the edits are turned around to me, I do the first round of edits, and it probably goes back through another round of edits. Usually I have at least two rounds, and I make my revisions based on the suggestions from the editor, the proofreader, whoever was looking at it. And then after I've been through several rounds of revision, I'm satisfied with the book, then it gets turned in. If it's going to come out from a publishing house, I turn it into my editor and they take care of everything from there. If I'm going to indie publish it, then I have to go through that whole process of formatting, of uploading it to the different stores, the cover design, everything has to happen so that it can be available for sale. It's a process, but I get it done. So that's basically how I get the books done. That's my writing process. And like I said, everybody's process is different. And I'm not saying mine is the best, but that's my personal process. So if you have any more specific questions about my writing process, please do leave them in the comments. I would love to answer them when you leave comments. I will reply to your comments. And if you have really good questions that I hear a lot, then I'll put it in a future video. That way everybody can get the answer. So, don't be shy. Put a comment down there. If it's something you want to know that I didn't tell you, please ask. I'm happy to tell you all about it. So that's it for this video. If you want to make sure you're up on the next video, you got to subscribe to the channel, y'all. Like, hit the subscription button. Like, you still watch me. I'm still talking. You must be interested at least a little bit. So hit the subscription button. And then if you tap that notification bell, you'll be notified every time I upload a video so you won't miss out on anything. All the shenanigans you can take right there on your notification screen. So go ahead and subscribe and hit the notification button. And I'll see you for the next video. Peace out, y'all.